Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Old School Gym Radio. I'm back. It's Coach Myers, and I got my co-host, Nettie G, the business boss that keeps all the gym bros in check. What up, Nettie G?
What's up?
And we got a special guest today. My man, former NFL running back, former Ohio State great, and present hero, firefighter out there saving people in the streets, Antonio Pittman. What's up, Pitt?
What's going on? How you doing?
Good, man. Good to have you back at the Midwest Mecca today.
Good to be here.
So, now, Pitt, me and you have worked out together for many years. But I feel like there's always been a lot of space in between the workouts. You know, we'll get a couple good workouts in, then I might not see you for 6 months. You know, sometimes it's been even longer. And I'm going to tell a quick story about the first time there was a gap in that, okay?
He ghosts. He ghosts.
He ghosted me, exactly. I'm going to tell a story about how Pittman ghosted me. Well, first, let's back up a little bit. How did you first come out here? Tell us about that.
It was just a random. One night I came down. I was living in Cincinnati. Came down with Beans. Me and him like brothers. He was like, man, you think you can box? I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty good at it. He like, yeah, well, we're going to go boxing in the morning.
Just for the record, everyone thinks they're good at boxing.
So I'm like, all right, cool. So we wake up, we drive out here, and we get a good session in. We lift first, and then we box. And so from that day forward, I kept coming back out here. He went ghost.
Well, was Dustin with you when you boxed the first time?
Yeah.
Okay,
Dustin was here.
Okay.
Dustin was the first one.
That's
first person I met.
We used to have the ring out in the front room.
Oh, you went.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, the ring was in the
It's way
front
back.
room.
Old school.
Probably like 2012 or something. It was way back.
Yeah.
13 maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, so Beanie quit coming. You kept coming for a while though.
Yeah, Beans quit, and I kept coming.
I remember too, like at that time, Beanie had that boot on.
He just tore his Achilles.
So every time Beanie would come out, all we could do was lift upper body. And I
Yeah.
remember you kept saying like, man, I want to do legs. I said, well, you know, I do legs with the wrestling team on Fridays. You know, so if you want to do legs, you got to come down the wrestling room. And then you did come. So tell us about that.
It was the biggest mistake of my life. Well, from a standpoint of like me being a former athlete and being super competitive, it's like you always feel like you still got it. So me doing legs, I go to the gym and I squat and I run, but never pushing myself to the limit to where I used to be. So I'm like, I can go down there, I can hang with these college kids, man. I'm gonna go ahead.
Some college wrestlers, you know.
I'm gonna get it in, see what I can do. It all started wrong with the squats. So we did squats, and then we started doing these heavy step ups, and
Well, I remember you did good on the squats and the step ups because you were still strong. You've been lifting a lot, you know. But I remember thinking, like, after the step up, some of the accessory stuff, you thought we were done. And you kind of had that look like, I made it. I gave it my all. I made it. I was like,
Yeah.
now we're going to do the sleds.
And then we started doing these sleds. But it wasn't just your normal sleds. It was a competition sled. So that right there automatically put me at the peak. So I was already tired, but I'm like, I'm not about to let these kids beat me. At the time, I'm 32 now, so I'm like 26. And I'm like, and I still got it. Because deep down, I still want to play football. So I'm like, you know what? See how I do in this workout. I think after that workout was the deciding moment that football was over. And
I ruined your dream.
It's time to move on. Now, seriously, I mean.
Well, I remember it was a sled relay race, and so we had to go across the wrestling room and back. There was a bunch of weight on the sleds, and you're racing against all these guys. And you gave it everything you had, but on the way back, I could see you running out of gas. You got to about 10 feet from the end, and you collapsed face down on the mat. And I thought, okay, he's just taking a breather. He's going to get back up. You really could not get back up and finish.
Nah, I couldn't get up. I couldn't drive home.
No, he was hurt. And the best part was, like, you know, so these guys I think it was in the summertime. They were the red shirts or the incoming freshmen. So these guys, even though they're wrestling for Ohio State, they're young, 17, 18, 19 years old. They're young enough that they don't even know who Pittman is. They just think he's one of my buddies that I brought in. So they're kind of looking at me like, Coach, who's this scrub you brought here, you know?
Nah, they did me in. Like, seriously, they did me in, but rightfully so, man. I mean.
Well, the moral of that story is I don't think you talked to me for a year after that. You wouldn't return my call.
It was.
Disappeared. Didn't come back to Old School Gym.
It was about a year and some change.
You were
I had to
a
go
broken
find
man?
myself. I had to go get myself together before I came back in here. I mean, honestly, I remember throwing up. I pulled out the parking lot, stopped at a gas station, got some fluids, and I kind of fell asleep in the car for like 45 minutes. I had to come together.
At the gas station.
I had to come together. I wasn't about to fall asleep in that weight room.
You passed out. That's not falling asleep.
Now,
okay.
Eddie, what do we call that?
The dark place.
Yeah,
but you might have went further than the dark place.
No, I was there, man. It was bad.
The important thing to take away from that, though, is if Pittman wasn't such a competitor, he would have never got to that point in the first place because, his body wasn't conditioned for that workout, and most people would have quit or not gave maximum effort. So they wouldn't have maybe they'd have thrown up, maybe they'd have got tired, but they wouldn't have got to that place where it was like the end of the earth. And the only reason he got there is because he was so competitive and he didn't want to let these guys beat him. So
that was a bad decision. Bad decision. At 32, nah, wouldn't try it. Now I'll try to work out again. Now don't get me wrong, I would definitely still go out there and compete the same way, but now I'm in a lot better shape. Like my career depends on me being in shape. So
tell us about your career now. What are you doing now?
I'm a firefighter. And actually, I found my career in old school gym.
Oh.
Yeah, Nettie didn't even know that.
I know,
Yeah.
I did.
Crazy situation. Like seriously, like Beans started bringing me out here, and then I started coming on my own. Dust introduced me to Kevin.
Kevin McFarland.
McFarland.
Yes,
He harassed me for about a year. Like every time I would see him, it would just be like, "Man, you should do it. You should do it. You should do it." And I'm like, "Bro, I'm not running into no damn building."
Burning building, yeah.
Yeah, burning building at that. So it was just ironic. I came down here from Cincinnati on the weekend, and I told Beans, I'm like, man, I need to figure out something. I need to figure out what I'm gonna do next. Play football, and then just trying to find that your niche after it. I mean, I tried some media, I tried some things, some different things, but ultimately
that's something a lot of guys have a hard time with, right? Is that the transition after they're done in college or the league or whatever, finding what's next for them to really focus on.
Absolutely, because there's no game plan and there's no guideline. Everyone that comes into college comes in with this plan. I'm gonna do 3 to 4 years, and I'm gonna go get paid. That's the plan. Mm-hmm. You never look at it because everybody that comes to Ohio State or to any D1 program for that matter was the man at their school. Mm-hmm. So for some that don't even get on the field, it's a shock that I'm not even playing. So I never experienced that because I ended up playing right away, and I was thankful for that opportunity. And I actually had a solid career here, so I was fortunate enough to leave in 3 years. And I did my 3 years, and then I had 3 years in the NFL, and then boom, I'm hurt. And I'm hurt. I have a microfracture. Pretty much that took my career away from me. So for 2 years, I just couldn't do anything but rehab. And then I spent another year and a half trying to get back into playing. So that's almost 4 years.
But now it's you're behind the 8 ball.
So now I'm super behind 8 ball.
You've had the injury, you've had the time off, and there's no shortage of new guys coming up that have taken your spot or what could have been your spot.
Well, you have to look at it like this. And me being older now and more mature, you have to really look at the grand scheme of things. When I came in, I took somebody else's job when I got drafted. So my draft class came in, and then you have the guys that were already free agents the season before, and then the guys who got released in the jobs I took. So then you fast forward 3 years, and those three years of those guys trying to come in, and then you have 3 more draft class, 3 more years of free agency. So you compare that up and you pile those numbers up, and then you really look at the odds stacked up and you being in that pool, and it's like, all right, so now you got 3.5 years of not playing. So this is a total of 9 years, 9 classes of free agency and drafts combined. Mm-hmm. So now you're looking at almost 1,200, 1,300 running backs to play for, 29 teams, 28 teams? Oh. And it's 4 running backs on each team. So then you do the math on that. That's roughly like 120 guys. So you in a pool of, you that 1% again. So as you break it back down, you starting to look at the numbers and you're like, yo, this isn't coming. It's not happening. And you got to go back to being in high school where you were that guy. You were that star. And everywhere you go, everybody asking you like, man, what's going on, man? You going to play football? You going to play football? Who you playing for this year? And you like, man, I'm tired of hearing this shit. You know what I mean? Because right. It's more to you than just a football player. You
probably want to look at people sometimes and say, like, man, I'm not bugging you about your job. I'm not asking you about your child support or, like if you got a raise, like, why are you asking me about
in
football?
the grand scheme of things, you don't want to be like a asshole to him. and you seriously, because you look at it and you be like, man, like what I made in 3 years is Like, let's add it up. Like, why are you asking me about my career and what I have going on as if you didn't chase the same dream your whole life and didn't get past the high school level? But to say that to someone is disrespectful. But to keep asking somebody what's going on in their career path is extremely disrespectful. But to them, you know, it's an aha moment. I knew he would make it, or, you know what I mean? So you got to put everything together and just bite the bullet and just really look at it like, man, you know what? I'm fortunate enough to be in this space to have this opportunity. You know, you look back at it on Pee Wee and you say you had 50 kids on. You play football from the age of 8 to 14, and you play, that's 6 years pretty much, and you got 50 kids on each team. You didn't play football with 300 kids from 8 to 14. Then you go to high school where you got 70 kids on one team. 4 years of that, that's 280. So then you do the math. That's 580 kids, and then you look at, from that 580 kids, how many kids actually make it to the NFL. I can count 3 kids that I played with in high school. But then you get criticized because your career isn't an Eddie George or a LaShawn McCoy or Adrian Peterson. You know, everybody's not fortunate enough to have that longevity and that long career. It's just not for everybody. But the thing about it is you can't lose yourself within that. So you had to find your niche. And I found my niche here in this gym. And like I said, I hit Kevin up one day and it's just random. Like, man, tell me about this firefighter stuff. And he was like, I'm at my son's baseball game. I'll give you a call back. 30 minutes later, he called me. We sat down and he said, man, this is Wednesday. He said, they start a new class on Monday morning. If you can get there, go up there today and get the application. So I drove all the way out. I drove out here from Westerville. The people in the front desk looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, dude, these kids been signed up for this class a year ago. We have a spot. But if you can get everything in by Friday, you can start. I'm like, no problem. I went to Ohio State, so I get my transcripts from there today. So I made one phone call, had those sitting waiting for me at the Yonkin. So I had my sister go pick those up, called my mom. She went down to the Board of Education in Akron and grabbed my high school transcripts. So I drove to Akron Wednesday night. By Thursday morning, I had all the information, paperwork, signed up. And that's how I became a firefighter and it started here.
So do you think at that point, like, since you made it happen that week to get everything in line so that you could take that next step, do you think it was because right then you knew, like, yes, this is what I want to do? Or was it more like you were so lost in all the other stuff you thought this could be it? You know what I mean? Or do you feel like you already knew? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
yeah, no.
For me, I was honest with myself and knew that I couldn't do a desk job.
Right.
I needed to do something physical. Like, growing up, I was always into fashion, like shoes and clothes and all of that. And that kind of seemed so far-fetched to try to get into that and trying to pretty much do the background and the research for it. And I know I'm not the person that's going to sit there and just be like, I'm about to figure this out and make this work. I get frustrated with it and be like, the hell with it, on to the next. But I knew with the firefighting, it would be physical, it'd be challenging, and it'd still give me that competitive edge that I've always been seeking. And first day, I show up, I have no gear.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you do any research
None.
beforehand?
Nothing.
Like,
Zero.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, did you obviously you
Zero.
talked to,
Never seen a truck, never touched a pack, never touched a pair of boots, gloves, helmet.
Ignorance is bliss. Because if you would have researched, it might have been bad. Okay.
Just walking in ready to go.
Just ready to go. And I get there, they hand me these books. The hell I gotta read for? Like, you telling me it's science to this? It's math? They like, yeah, you need to learn a lot, like friction loss. And
So take that back. If you would have known that before the
Wednesday,
would you have went? Okay.
I wouldn't have did it. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I wouldn't have did it because, you know, you look back at it and the ultimate goal for me was, it was never like I enjoyed playing football. I did, but the ultimate goal was for me to take care of my family. You know what I mean? Like, my grandmother was sick. My brother had passed when I was in the 8th grade. He didn't have a headstone until I got drafted. You know what I mean? So that was my goal.
Wow.
To take care of my brother, get my brother situated, get my grandmother situated, take care of my mom, and make sure my kids are straight. That was my goal. Football really wasn't. It was the plan, but it was the outlet. Like, I really had nothing else pretty much going for me in that point. I wasn't a great student. I'm not an idiot, but I kind of put myself in an odd spot academically because I was lighting the candle on both ends pretty much. Like I was really good in sports, but I grew up in the streets. My friends is in the streets, my brother is in the streets, my family is in the streets, but I'm really, really good in sports. So it was just an odd situation to where my junior year happened and I rushed for 2,600 yards and 35 touchdowns, and then I have 40 offers. And I'm like, oh shit, I got an opportunity to leave here?
Right.
But I flunked my freshman year. So now I got colleges coming to the high school. Notre Dame came to my high school and said, you're good, but you won't qualify, so we're not offering you. So I had to go to night school, I had to go to summer school, I had to retake classes. Like my whole senior year, my whole summer, the end of my junior year and my whole summer going into my senior year consisted of night classes and summer school.
Now, were you pushing yourself? Was that just you? Like I
know. My uncles like collectively.
So what happened the freshman year? They just
high school?
You were just kind of like off on your own.
I wasn't off on my own. I was broke. You know what I mean? Like we were broke. We had situations going on within our household. You know what I mean? It was just I was in that weird transition to where I wanted things, and then like I had some family members that was just heavily involved in that way, and I'm seeing the glitz and the glamour and everything that come from that, and I'm like...
Did you play football your freshman year?
Yeah, I played football, but I broke my leg. I got hurt.
Oh, okay.
So I broke my leg. I had
also, too, I think at that point, probably the idea of college and the NFL would have been felt like it was so far away.
It was so far away. It was so far away. Like, even growing up, you know what I mean? Like...
Just like you said, school was kind of a vehicle for you for football, and football was a vehicle for you to succeed. At that point, like it wouldn't even make sense to really concentrate on school because college and NFL, that was
it just seemed so far away. Like
right.
it honestly did. Like growing up, like my father played Division I football at Purdue. He was a free safety, started 3 years. He blew his knee out his senior year of college. So me and him had no relationship growing up. But I lived with my grandmother, and I could not walk past. I couldn't go up the stairs without seeing his Big Ten Player of the Week trophies, all his plaques, all of his accomplishments every year. I'm talking about the Peach Bowl, the Blue Bonnet Bowl, the Cotton Bowl champs. Like, I'm seeing all of this, and it's like, I'm better than you. And they're like, well, you got to prove it. But to me, it was just like the reality of me making it. Is like, he had his father in his life. My grandfather was heavily involved. He was the vehicle behind. He funded the whole process. I didn't have that funding at that time until I started taking it serious. That's when everybody else took me serious, because I was, like I said, I was lighting it on both ends. I was going to school, staying eligible just for football, and when football season was over, I was still going to school every day. It was just like, what are you doing in school? Like, you're not getting nothing accomplished. You pretty much got a D average. And like I said, my junior year changed my whole life. Seriously, it honestly did.
Well, at least when that opportunity came, you had, well, not just you, I guess your uncles also. Everyone kind of had the foresight to see, like, listen, we gotta do something about this, or the opportunity is going to pass you by. Think how many kids then they don't right the ship at that point.
I wasn't gonna let it. I wasn't gonna let it. Like, honestly, like when I came up here and I graduated, I ended up graduating early and enrolling in the spring because Reese had did it 2 years before that.
Right.
So I followed that path. I'm like, I'm getting out of here. But once I got up here and I seen just a totally different environment. It was just totally different. I'm like, I'm not going home to that. Because I had already had, at that point in time, my high school quarterback, he went to Pittsburgh. And he ended up getting kicked out. He ended up getting kicked out of school. And I want to say maybe like 2 months later, he killed somebody.
Ugh.
So he ended up going to jail for murder. So I'm looking at the whole situation. I'm like, I'm not coming back to Akron. But by that time, all my friends that had went to college had already quit and was back home. And so I could go to college and do my work, play football, come back, and ain't nothing changed. So as we got older and as years kept rolling, in year two, their highlights was coming up here and hanging with me and coming to icebreakers up here and partying up here on campus. And they like, yo, man, it's the best time in the world. I'm like, man, I'm not leaving this to come back to what y'all got going on here, which was pretty much a whole bunch of nothing. You know, my best friend ended up finding his niche, and He's been working for the gas company down there for 12, 13 years now. But that was by him applying himself and looking for a different outlet. But everyone else that I came up with in high school pretty much is unemployed and in the streets.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about, kind of the smaller, kind of rundown blue-collar cities, whether it's Akron, Youngstown, Steubenville, all these towns in Ohio, like, it can almost be you can still do positive things in those cities. I have friends that stay back there do positive things, but they can also be kind of a trap. The people that either don't want to leave, can't leave, or they try to leave, and then they just get sucked back into it, their old life, and then they just keep doing whatever it is they've always been doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad because you look at it, like, I remember growing up, my mom's boyfriend at the time, he worked at Goodyear. And I remember Goodyear pretty much stretching out like 7, 8 blocks of just being like massive buildings, like heavy production, like city booming. And then she started dating him when I take my childhood back to like streets, because I remember from time frames we lived on this street from 2nd grade to 5th grade. So
right.
From when I was like from like 7 to 10, we lived on Stadelman, and that's when he worked at Goodyear. And he still worked there when I was in middle school, so like 7 to 13. He worked at Goodyear. But when I was 14, time to go to high school, Goodyear was condensed down to one building. And pretty much all those guys were laid off. Mm-hmm. And now to this day, you still have all those massive buildings, but no production in them. It's just space. And so you basically seen the economy just flip-flop upside down. But then you look across the stretch, you go up to Youngstown, you see the same thing.
Right.
Where it was business was booming with the factories and everything that was going on, because that whole area was the rubber capital of the world. You had Firestone at one point, you had Goodyear. Mm-hmm. And that was all the money. I mean, you look back and you look on TV and you see that they having a golf tournament in Firestone Park. And you're like, what are they doing in Akron? Mm-hmm. But it was a big thing down there. That golf course, they put money into that. Akron was booming. That whole Northeast Ohio had a lot of hope and promise. And it's like, you see it just tank down, and then you look back at your childhood, and then you grow up, and now that you're an adult, and you see like your friends pretty much struggling within that area. And I try to go back as much as possible, and I try to help, but it's only so much I could do because I don't want to get caught up in their situation. I don't, be honest with you, those are my friends, and
you can't let someone else's problems become your problems.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what can happen.
And I learned the hard way with that. What I mean? I felt like I could help everybody at one point, and you try to go out there and you do things and just to try to help those guys out and help them get ahead. But the reality of it is I don't know what they do Monday through Friday, and I'm coming down here on Saturday. So I don't want to get caught up in your mess on Saturday and Sunday from your Monday through Friday problem. Seriously. So I had to just separate myself from it, because
if you got a Monday through Friday problem, don't call me on Saturday.
Absolutely, because you don't know what they do. You know what I mean? Like it's just you caught up in that situation, and they're not going to be completely honest with you until the confrontation confronts all of y'all. You're like, what's really going on here?
This is going way deeper than working out. I love it.
So take us back. Your junior year is transitional for you. At that point in time, are you lifting weights? Like, where does the weight training, actually getting in the weight room, start to impact you? Is that when you get to O State?
I've met plenty of gifted D1 athletes, big time football players and stuff, that they were so gifted athletically, they never really got into lifting weights. You've always struck me as someone that you love to lift weights, like the grind of it. Maybe you just fake it when you're around me.
Nah, I like hard work.
Okay.
Like I'm not afraid of that, and that's the thing. When I come around you, I know it's time to work. Like I'm not afraid to get down and work out. So that's why I work out on my own still. But I know when I come in here, it's gonna be that grit, that grind. When I was in college, I came in at 165. I left here at 190. I lifted no weights in college. I'll be completely honest with you. Only thing I did was squat.
Okay.
And this goes back to our conversation that we had downstairs. Like for me, it was always built on what you had in your heart. All that muscle didn't mean nothing, because it's just when you get on that field, all them curls and that leg press, that ain't gonna help if you ain't got no heart to go behind it. Seriously.
No.
And for me, I was never scared to run up against anybody. Like no matter who you were or what it was, you hit me, I'm coming at you full-fledged 120 times. Harder than that. So my thing was, you're a smaller guy, you're playing in the Big Ten, everybody they're gonna doubt you. So just be that element of surprise.
Well, I think you were known for having a real physical running style. That's why I always enjoyed watching you run, because you weren't the biggest guy, you weren't the fastest running back, I mean, you had some speed. I'm not trying to say you didn't, but you were
Let me tell you.
hard nosed. You would always run hard.
I'm gonna tell you something though. I got the fastest 40 in Ohio State history at the combine.
Really?
From running backs.
I
The
did.
fastest. Out of all of them that came through here.
That's impressive.
4.4 flat. Electric.
I stand corrected.
The fastest. See, and,
And
that's
if you got a 4.4 flat, that's a 4.25 when your coach got the hand timer.
and that's the thing about it. I just always wanted to be.
But I'm gonna go with you. You really weren't that fast. You just ran with so much heart.
Now you
You
gotta hit them before they hit you.
Right.
And that's the thing about it, man. It was just never about the weights. I knew my body. I was a smaller frame guy. I just wanted to be in great shape and have that leg drive that'd carry me over through the fourth quarter. As long as my legs didn't give out, anything else upper body, I feel like I could handle. And that was the thing, man. I just wanted to just keep hitting guys in the mouth consistently and just try to wear the defense down as much as possible. I knew the guys up front was going to help me out a lot. I knew Tresson was going to put me in some positions to win. But overall, it just came down to just straight up heart and gut check and what was in me. And that was just, I look back on my childhood and I wasn't going back there. And I
Right.
had some things that I need to accomplish. And I had a kid on the way. So it was like, man, let's get to the business. Your legs is only this big. You ain't gonna never have no calf muscles. So you're gonna have to get in this weight room. Just gonna squat. And that's all I did. I think I ended up squatting I maxed out like 595 or something. And that was my squat in college.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
Like
that's some weight.
my pre-combine training, I remember lifting 225 3 times for pre-combine training. But I ended up doing it 17 at the combine.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say if you
So
did that at the combine, that's weird.
No, I did 17 at
Okay.
the combine. But I mean, that just goes, I didn't lift weights. I didn't
Right.
start lifting weights because I never seen, when they tried to get me to lift weights, I looked at it as a form of punishment in college. So I wanted to do my own thing.
Right.
You was going to run me to death. I didn't have no leeway to go do the things I wanted to do. Tress was like a real stickler on time. So if we wasn't in school, we was at the Woody almost 13, 14 hours a day. And I was like, man, I'm not about to keep being over here doing this. So I looked at lifting as a form of punishment. But I would always go in there on leg day and get after it. And when he wanted me to run, I would run. But it wasn't until I started getting prepared for the combine, I started physically seeing my body change. And then a girl came to me like, hey, you getting big. I'm like, yeah, you know what? It's time
That's
to
always what does it, right?
I'm going to go ahead and stay in this weight room.
Oh, I
And
love
that's
it.
what did it, though. That's what really got me into it. But I never really understood the weights. I mean, even in high school, I went to Bookville, and we didn't have the resources that another school would have. We had
Right.
a couple benches, squat rack. We had...
Yeah, did you even have a designated weight room, or was it just kind of
it
in
was
the
a weight
gym?
room, but it was like...
Put it this way, they
Didn't
probably didn't have a
qualify.
strength coach on staff, and they didn't have a structured program. There's probably some weights in there for you to go in and lift a little
They were
bit.
teaching kids how to hang clean, and this was the most awkward movements. And somebody was gonna get hurt eventually,
Right.
and that's pretty much what it was. But we relied on talent, and that's what we had. We had a talented team. I mean, we sent a lot of kids into school, and weights just wasn't in the factor. And you see that a lot though within like a lot of the inner city high school programs where kids come in and have no weightlifting training whatsoever.
So what happened when you did get into the NFL? Was there a higher focus on the weight room? Did you take that more seriously then?
I think I took it too serious, to be
Oh.
honest, because
Okay.
lifting weights wasn't. It was something that it kept me in shape, like it kept me there. It was there. I use weights as a form of rehab, but for a guy with my frame, I never played with that much weight, so it kind of changed my running style and changed my body. I didn't have a happy medium.
Oh,
So-
You got
okay.
a little bit too big.
I got too big.
It slowed you down.
It slowed me
Okay.
down, and I was
Okay.
stiffer, and I couldn't move the same move, so my timing was completely off. And that's the thing where guys, you have to find your medium within it, you know. And I got kind of obsessed with lifting weights. And, you know what I mean? Like this was when
Were you
the-
getting more compliments from the
well,
ladies?
the affliction shirts came out. Guys stopped wearing like the 4X tees, and the 42 pants went out of style, and it's
Right.
more form-fitting clothes. And so now I got obsessed with it. And I'm like, man, you know, I'm about this tight ass shirt, and these tight pants, and it changed me though.
I don't care who you are. There's something about everyone, no matter what level of athlete you are. If you love to lift weights, deep down, there's a big part of it that's like, well, yeah, because I like the way I look like this, you know.
Absolutely.
So people want to divorce themselves from that, but really that's still the root of it.
It never
Everyone
changes.
likes the way they look when their muscles are big.
It never changes because you can buy a shirt and you like the way you looked in that shirt a couple years ago, maybe a couple months ago, and you didn't slacked off on it, and then you go back to you put that outfit on and that outfit don't fit the same, and you like, I gotta go ahead and change real quick, but I gotta get back to it. So I mean, it's all about it.
I tell you, I want to change gears for a second. I kind of want to go back to the firefighting thing. So let's talk about now. Obviously, you played at the highest level in athletics. You think when you think of like some of the games you've been in, whether it's the national title game or NFL games, the stakes are very high and something like that. And when people talk about athletics, a lot of times they compare them to life and death situations, like we're going to war with this team, or like they try to, that's the way they use to kind of motivate the team or to motivate themselves. But now you think about what you're doing on a daily basis, the stakes are much higher. So talk about kind of your mindset when you go into, when you guys get a call, like what is the feelings that go through your mind, and like does your competitive nature kind of play into that when you guys get to a structure fire or when you have to try to rescue someone,
Same mindset as football for me.
Okay.
Same mindset. I look at it the same way. I look at like my day-to-day comes as like when we're just sitting around in the day room, eating dinner, just talking, as us being in the locker room, just shooting the birds. Same thing. But when the siren go off and it's a distinct bell. So it'll be like a weird pitch, like a regular call is coming out. But at the end of it, it'll make a weird noise. And that's when you know it's a structure fire. So for me, it's like same game plan, gearing up for the game, big game, getting your helmet on. Because your mindset has to be the same. Because
you can't be scared.
Well, you can't be scared, but at the end of the day, I have kids. I got people that's dependent on me, so I have to come home.
Right.
So I got to make sure that everyone else, and it's not for me to make sure because I'm not the lieutenant, I'm not the captain, I'm not the guy riding up. I'm the back step. I'm the lowest man on totem pole because I'm newer. But they thinking that they making sure that I'm ready. I'm looking at them because I know what I'm about, and I know I'm not gonna let them die. But I need to know that you're not going to let me die. So my game plan is to make sure everybody's focused. Everybody's ready. I started something to where I collectively get guys on my shift to come work out with me. So we work out together, we eat together, and
just creates that bond.
Well, it creates that bond, but at the end of the day, they've been doing this a lot longer than me. They know techniques to where you working smarter, not harder. So I'm not fatiguing myself if we out there in the ripping fire for 3 and 4 hours. Because it can happen. You just can't get a grip on it and it's just going. So you're there for 3-4 hours, and where I'm at, we're at a smaller department to where we might only have 13 guys on staff for that day. So 4 hours in a fire, that can spin you. Especially if you get that fire at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. You still got to 7 o'clock the next day until you get off.
Ugh.
So you still got 22 hours of work that needs to be done. So you got to learn how to preserve yourself and make sure that you're eating right and that you're in good shape because it's about the long haul. You know what I mean? This is a career. This isn't the NFL where it's the 3 years and you out, 2 years and you out, or you're going to get a quick buck and try to make the most out of it. Like, this is longevity. You're looking at this for 25, 30 years plus. And that's what it takes to get your pension to retire, 25 years. So for me, these guys that's been there longer, they've already conditioned themselves and they know how to push themselves and last. But for a guy like me that's very high strung coming in and just wants to be super competitive and really wants to work and prove myself, like we need each other. And that's the thing about it. Like, we need each other. And I get those guys and they work out with me. And if me bringing the workouts to the firehouse is what I bring to the table at this point in my career, I'm fine with that. Right. Because I'm soaking up some knowledge of a guy that's been here 26 years. I can't go buy that anywhere else. I can't read a book on all the knowledge that he has and all the things that he's saying. Even a guy that's been there 2 years, 10 years. You know what I mean? It just changes. It's like being a rookie again in the situation. When I was in college and Beans came to me, it was just things that I knew that I figured out on how to play this game and how to map it out to where, bro, if you just do this, you can set this up. Like, work smarter, not harder. Like, figure it out. You wanna make this last. You don't want to give it all you got in the first quarter. You still got 3 more, and you might have overtime. You know what I mean? So you got to learn how to preserve yourself and figure it out. And that knowledge that I'm getting from those guys, man, is just unbelievable. And to tie everything all back together, it's hand in hand. Same mentality. Football, firefighting. I think if two things can correlate the same in like two sports, well, firefighting is not a sport, and I look at it like it is. But if you can find two career paths that's identical for like any former athlete, you're looking for that itch. I honestly think, I'm not trying to promote it, I'm not trying to do whatever. I thoroughly enjoy it, and it's not work to me because it's the same. Like when the fire comes, you still get that same drive as if it's 4th and 1, and you want to run into somebody and you want to score the winning touchdown. You know what I mean? Like I'm dealing with overdoses on the daily. You're dealing with real life problems,
real life situations.
But the reality of it is, it's like, this is somebody else's worst day.
And this is a day of work for you.
But to me, it's just it's a day of work. And to help somebody and get that satisfaction out of it, it puts everything in perspective. The way I grew up, what I've overcome, what I've accomplished, and where I'm at now. And what I'm going to accomplish, because this isn't like the end of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm super competitive. Even in firefighting, I don't want to be no damn firefighter the rest of my life. I want to be the chief. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Seriously though,
Yeah.
like you have to have goals. I mean, who wants to sit there and be just a regular guy? Like, nah, I got.
Yeah, you don't want to be the guy in the back of the ladder forever, right?
No, I don't. Some people's fine with that.
Right.
But you know, my plan was always, if I played football, I wanted to be the best. You know, I'm firefighter. I want to be the best. I want to run the place. Like that's my goal. You know what I mean? I'm never gonna settle and just be average. So I'm soaking up as much knowledge as I can right now to potentially, like that rookie again that's trying to knock that veteran from his spot. And I hate to put it like that, but if you're not competitive and you're not looking to advance in any career or any aspect in life, then what are you really doing it for? Because I don't do anything to get praise from my peers. I'm not looking for that. I don't need that. I need praise from my kids. You know what I mean? I do what I have to do to make sure my kids and my family are straight. I could care less about what the next man thinks. So my goal is to put a smile on my kids' face and make sure that the people who I have around me genuinely on the day-to-day know that if anything go wrong, I'm going to make sure I get it right. And so I'm trying to shoot to be the chief one day.
Well, I'll tell you, I know you say you don't like to, or you don't count on praise from your peers, but I know I'm really proud of you, Pitt, because I've seen the whole transformation from, fresh out of the NFL to, your new career as a firefighter right now. I'm really happy for you. And most importantly, you did much better on the sled workout today than you did at the Ohio State wrestling room about 6 years ago.
Y'all play this gym, like honestly, this gym, you, Beans, Kev, this gym was one of the leading factors in the move that I made. You know what I mean? Because it was
a catalyst in some ways.
It definitely was. It definitely was. Like I never forget where I came from. Like I'm one of them people. Like I'm always gracious for everything, every opportunity that came my way. You know what I mean? You know how I am. I don't deal with a lot of people. I mean, anybody that know me know that. Like my friends is my friends. The people I associate with, that's it. I'm not into meeting new people and having
No, you definitely got a small circle.
Yeah, like new people in my circle. Like nah, this is what it's gonna be. Like I don't need that, and because I'm not a click jumper. I support who supported me, and that's I think how life should be. Right. You find your niche. You don't bail on people when things get hard or rough or whatever, because you never know what they're going through mentally. You know what I mean? And the people that supported me and been in my corner has always been in my corner. You know what I mean? Like you never came in here and you never like, man, what you got going on? You know what? Let's get to work. Oh, you doing the firefighting stuff? All right, well, Kev is doing this too. Kev can bring some gear in here. Got Jacob's ladder. Let's do this. You know what I mean? You've always pushed me to the limit. Even today when we're doing the leg workout, you went over there, you grabbed the hose. You know what I mean? But to me, that's my work. That's my job.
Right.
I'm going to be geared up with some weight on me. The weight ain't going to be the machine that we were using. It's going to be all my gear, a 45-pound pack on my back, a ladder, and I'm going to be dead tired humping hose.
Yeah,
and it correlates.
You missed it today, Nettie. So we did the ATP walks, but holding the fire hose like overhead and on our shoulders.
Oh.
Yeah, so and like I wouldn't have thought to do that today either. Rather,
Yeah,
well,
that's smart.
I'm thinking, all right, I want to do some job specific stuff for Pittman. We're gonna kind of train to be firefighters. That's what he is now. So
Absolutely, but it makes sense, but that mentality right there, man, it's like the whole time I'm thinking about it, I'm like, man, I'm gonna get this video and I'm gonna send it to the guys that I work with on shift. And you know what I mean, my goal is to have them come down one weekend or whatever, and we all train. Because if everybody on the same page, man, it's like your team is good. You got a good group of guys. Like we all get along together. I can honestly say, my shift that I work with, everybody's on the same page. You know what I mean? But we all get that camaraderie, and everybody's in shape, and there's no worries. Honestly, you can have no worries.
Well, fellas in Middletown, if you're listening, we'd love to have you come to the Old School Gym. Come out here with Pittman, and we'll put you guys through the ringer. It'll be fun.
Definitely.
All right. Well, listen, on that note, Pitt, I want to really thank you again for stopping by. Really enjoyed listening to your stories. And Nettie, you got anything else?
No, it was awesome. It's great.
All right. Signing off, my man.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Definitely.
Hey, guys. Thanks for listening to the Old School Gym Radio podcast. Do us a favor. Subscribe, like, share. Hell, even write a book report about how great this podcast is. We really appreciate the support. Thanks for listening.